Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for joining me here today. My name is Adrienne Bradley, and I'm your host for the Daycare Q&A Show. And thank you for joining me here today. I'm trying to make sure I can see. I've been getting better at being able to see these comments on my main screen here, so hopefully that'll remain true today. But anyway, so can you believe it's the last day of January already in 2024? We've already almost finished a whole month into this new year. I can't believe it. Tomorrow's February. That's my birthday month, so I'm excited. I actually forgot that my niece called me. I called her last night, and she asked me what I was doing for my birthday, and I was like, oh shoot, that is coming up. I've been so busy with other things, I really hadn't thought about it, truly. And so I said, I don't know what I'm doing for my birthday. But anyway, so as I said, thank you for joining me here today. And if you are joining me for the first time, welcome. And if you are coming back, welcome back. I'm so happy to see you here. And if you are joining me live, please send me some hearts and likes so I can see you in the chat and just say hi. And if you're catching this on replay, please leave me a hi in the comments so I can come in and say hi to you as well. And if you are catching this on replay, do me a favor. It would be great if you would hit the thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to our channel so that you get notification when a video goes up and you don't miss a thing when it comes to the show. Okay? I would love that. All right, and let's see, a few housekeeping notes. The dogs are inside today. I could not trick them into going outside, so hopefully they've already barked today. I know I say this every week and you think, well, I never even hear her dogs, what's the big deal? One of them in particular will bark at any noise, so just letting you know they're behind me. All right, I always give this disclaimer at the beginning of the show. The questions and issues that we talk about here on the show from other providers and the opinions that I give are based on my experience as a provider for over 20 years, or someone close to me, a colleague that has gone through something similar, but they are my own opinions, and that's what the show is here to give you, maybe a different perspective, somebody else's perspective, how they see something. And sometimes, people have people on the show, people who are friends of the show, have different opinions than mine. And that's why we're here. We're kind of here to look at it from different angles and see, it from another point of view. But your business is your business. So if it works for you, great. If you're vibing with something and you think it'll work for your business, wonderful. That's what, like I said, the show is here for. But if it doesn't, then absolutely disregard. Take what works and leave the rest. We are just here to provide alternate solutions. Because I love a rant. I say this all the time. I love a rant. I do. And sometimes that's what we need. We just need to get it out for our mental health. We just need to get it out. But in my book, a resolution or a solution beats a rant. So, but again, take what works and leave the rest. It's probably for someone else. Okay? All right. And if you are joining me live, or even if you're catching this on replay and you have a question that relates to owning and running a childcare business, go ahead and leave it in the chat or leave it in the comments. And if you're joining me live, I'll try and get to it during the show. But if I don't, or if you're catching this on replay, leave it in the comments. I will come back and answer your question. Okay? Let's see. Oh, and if you have to leave early, I know you're busy. So I'm grateful if you are able to show up, but I understand if you have to dip out early before the show ends. But know that the replays do live on our YouTube channel. I'm in the process of getting the backlog uploaded over there, but you can catch our previous episodes over on our YouTube channel. And there is a link, I believe, in the chat where you can go over and, like I said, follow and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's see what's going on in the Thriving Childcare universe. So today our episode is sponsored by the Provider Planner and Organizer. That's our Stripe version behind me. That is our luxury planner just for childcare providers. And right now it's still a good time to get your planner. I know I said that this is the last day in January, but a lot of us are just getting used to the new year, and we haven't put together all of our plans and got them down on paper and started working towards them. So it's still a good time to get your planner and get those plans down for first quarter or for the whole year so that you can stay on track to accomplishing them here in 2024. So right now the planner is on sale for 20% off, I believe, and we have free shipping for the planner. So go ahead and click the link. It is in the chat. You can go over and look at the entire planner and flip through it, get a whole 3D experience, and check out the planner for yourself. But yeah, go ahead and get your planner. We have a limited supply, so we're getting pretty low. All right, let's see. Okay, so this week I actually wrote on the blog. I'm the author of the Thriving Childcare blog on thrivingchildcare.com, and I wrote. It's kind of a fun piece. It is 29 amazing Valentine's Day projects for daycare. So with this being the last day of January, that means tomorrow's February, and we actually have 29 amazing projects that you can do with the kids for the entire month of February. You might not want to do it every single day, but there are 29 different ideas for fun projects, different projects. Kind of spice it up for this Valentine's Day month. And yeah, so go over and check it out. There's a link in the chat, so you can go over and check out that post. But 29 amazing different projects that'll keep the kids excited and busy for the whole month of February. So check it out and then let me know what you think, okay? Which one is your favorite, all right? Okay, so this morning we're going to jump into a few questions that other fellow providers have asked. But before we do that, I always go to the planner and look to see what's going on this week, to see if there's something we can build a curriculum around, or a project, or maybe even a meal, a snack or something. So today is the 31st of January, like I said, and today, if you don't know already, is National Backward Day. So this is actually one of my favorite days in the planner because I think it's so creative. It is actually National Backward Day. So you don't need to do any planning. Maybe you want to do this with the kids. You can just take what they're wearing, maybe put their jacket on backwards, maybe turn their shirt around. Now, you know, you might have some kids that resist doing that, but if you say it's just a fun thing that we're going to do today, and maybe explain what National Backward Day is, I think it would be a lot of fun to do that with them. I do. Maybe you want to, if you don't want to change their clothes around backwards, and I wouldn't suggest putting their shoes on backwards or on the wrong foot, but maybe there's something else that you can flip and turn it around backwards. Maybe turn the book upside down and ask them, is this the way to read a book? You know, something fun, mix it up. So yeah, it's National Backward Day today. the 31st. And of course tomorrow, because it is February, we'll be starting Black History Month tomorrow. And then on the 2nd, February 2nd, is Groundhog Day. So that's another thing you can do with the kids, is maybe talk about National Groundhog Day. That's actually one of my favorite movies. I'm a big fan of, now I can't think of his name. Murray, what's his first name? I can't think of his name. Come in and tell me what his name is. They've actually, I just saw a commercial yesterday. They're going to do another remake of Ghostbusters, and it looks a lot of fun. It looks a lot of fun. Bill Murray, yes. Hi, Deborah. Yes, Bill Murray. I just saw him this morning. It's just when I go to say something about it, I totally forget. Yeah. So anyway, that is one of my favorite movies. I am sure it will be playing this weekend. And it's a good thing because I'm here in California and we are expecting another major storm tomorrow with another storm immediately following. So I'm not doing nothing. Hi, Deborah. I'm not doing nothing this weekend. I'm going to be watching movies and I'll probably catch that. So, have you ever seen Groundhog Day? Let me know in the chat if you've ever seen that movie. It is hilarious, even still to this day. And I know it's old now. It's an old movie now, but I still love to watch it. There's some movies that I will watch every single time I can catch it. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but I can do dialogue. Hi, Denitra. Denitra's guys joining us too. I can do dialogue with Jaws, and that is. If anybody ever asks, my kids know, anyone super close to me knows, and now you know, that is my favorite movie. And it seems bizarre because that almost left a scar on me when I was a child, because we had a pool in our backyard. And after I saw that movie, I did not even want to get in our pool. I'm sure a lot of people felt like that. But I don't know. It's just, maybe it's just a fun memory from my childhood, because I remember going to the movies to see that with two of my favorite cousins, and and I'm telling you, if it's on, everybody, well, it's just me and my husband now in the house, he knows that's what we're watching. That's what we're watching, and he's hoping it's not a marathon, because I will watch the whole thing. I will watch 1, 2, 3, and not 4. 4 was not good. But anyway, let me get back on track. But if you have a favorite movie, drop it in the comments. I would love to know what your favorite movie is. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's jump into some questions here today. All right. And you guys help me with these questions too. You know I'm going to ask you. Okay. Denitra says she still needs to watch that. I'm sure you're talking about Groundhog Day. Yeah, you need to watch it. It's hilarious. It really just is. Okay. First question, guys. All right. So it says, "Hey, Adrienne, hope you're doing well. I recently had a message from someone asking about my child care policies. I politely let her know that I prefer to discuss policies when we meet. However, after checking her Facebook page, I noticed she's on another local daycare's friend list, and it's making me a bit uneasy. I guess I have some trust issues. How do you deal with these tire kickers who just ask for info but might be connected to with another daycare? Any tips on handling these situations gracefully? Thanks for your advice." Okay, so what would you say? Okay, let's just assume that this might even be the other provider. What would you tell this provider to do if she's getting calls from other providers that are kind of, doing intel and seeing what she has to offer in her own business, and maybe trying to copy or adopt what she's doing in her business, in their business? What would you say? So you guys come into the chat and let me know. Let me get some water. Excuse me. Okay. So I will tell you this. I will confess, when I started childcare, and it might have been right before I actually started my business, so this is a lot of years ago, I did some calling around to other childcares in the community. And I kind of did feel creepy about doing it, but and I don't think I was trying to copy. I was just trying to get a feel for this new profession I was getting into, and I didn't know what was customary and appropriate to do as far as policies, as far as rates, I wasn't necessarily, in my mind, I wasn't necessarily trying to copy. I was trying to understand the profession and the business. However, I will say that years later, I was concerned about people calling me getting that same information. So I'm probably dual-minded with this. So you guys, please come in and let me know what your thoughts are. First of all, in this case, this person is connected to this other daycare. You may not be able to tell how they're connected. So it might not be the other provider. It might be another parent that is concerned about another daycare's policy and wants to know if you have a similar policy. Maybe it might be worth looking into your business. I don't know what the policy is, so I can't really speak to that. But maybe they're trying to see if this is standard and customary for childcare policies, and if they go someplace else, it's going to be the same thing. I don't know. And that could very well be the case. I think that without us divulging everything about our business, and who's going to do that? I never did that, even with clients on the phone, and we would be on the phone forever. So I did, like this provider is saying, I did reserve some things for when we met, because you do even get parents that are just what do you call it, shopping around. And number one, if you were just looking for the best rate, which I don't think is the best way to look for childcare, I'm sure all of you guys will agree with that. Although I've had other providers tell me, but if they don't have the budget for my rates, then they need to know that so they can move on. So I can see it from both sides. But I didn't get into a lot of details on the phone with anyone. I would get information for what their needs were. Then I would talk about my program, what it had to offer, and basic information like hours, days and hours, and whether I had a spot for that age group, basic information like that. And then the rest of the conversation was reserved for the tour. I call my tours orientation. So they were reserved for the orientation as opposed to being on the phone. Now, I know everybody, like I said in the intro, everybody has their own process for how they vet or interview potential clients. But that was my routine. So I after a while, I wasn't too concerned about whether this was an actual parent or perhaps a competitor, because I wasn't really getting into too much detail. You maybe could get the basics, but those same basics you could get off my website. So in other words, if there's a competitor that is seeking intel about your business to copy it or whatever, a lot of that information is available on the internet anyway. So we probably just need to relax, okay? And then with that being said, I'm sure that there are other people that have the exact same days and hours and policies that I had. So I don't, in other words, I'm saying that I don't think it is that much to be concerned about, as long as you're not, giving up your whole business plan or something like that. But let me see what you guys have to say about that. Let me go back. Ooh, okay. Okay, I want to make sure. Okay, so Deborah Hurley says maybe help them. Yeah, that's exactly right. And she says work as a community together. I mean, I've talked about that, and that's a good point, Deborah. I've talked about that on the show before about how having a network and working with other providers in your community can be really good collaborations for when you're on vacation or they're on vacation, or maybe you're off on a certain holiday and they're open. You can provide options to your clients. Say you get a referral for a client but you don't have space for that age or something of that nature, you can refer them to your colleague, and you can tell that parent that you have a relationship with this other provider, the type of care that they provide, and you can be a resource for not only your community and parents in your community and families in your community, but also for that other provider. I mean, because we all know what it's like to just be starting and or to have our enrollment at a point where we need some enrollments. As a matter of fact, I think we're not getting into that question today. But let me continue on. Let's see. Hi, Helena. Let's see. Denisha Scott says, you always tell me they could never copy me even if they use my policies. I do. I tell her that, and I'm going to tell you that. Even if, like I said, I don't think anyone's going to get your whole game plan correct. I don't think they're going to, unless they're going to drug you and pull you off someplace and get you with some truth serum and get you to tell everything about your business. But even if they did do that, you're a different individual. We all have child cares here, right? Deborah, Helena, Denitra, me. And I would bet good money that even though we're all in the same business, our setups are different. Probably our policies have some differences. Our rates are going to be different. So no one can really exactly copy you. That's why I said a moment ago that I think that we don't need to be so concerned about something like that happening. I know it doesn't feel good to think that somebody's kind of creeping around and peeping at your business or whatever, but honestly, they can't do you. Only you can do you. So yeah, that would be my opinion. Don't worry about it so much. And like I said, I only give up basic info anyway that you can get wherever. So let's see. Denisha Scott also says market research is important. It is. And to be honest, I'm glad you brought that up, Denitra, because I'm just going to speak for here in California, and I'm in Southern California. The CCR that a lot of us are associated with holds a lot of the information about the childcare businesses in the community, right? Makes sense. So, to be honest, on their website, we can go and get some information or see some information about the other child cares in our community. It's right there. Just like I said a moment ago, a lot of this is available maybe in different sources or whatnot. So to be honest, people don't really have to call you. They can find out a lot through your ads, through your website, or maybe even a CCR or a referral service. They can get a lot of information online about your business. So, I mean, yeah, they totally do. But also, like she said, market research is important when you are starting off or when you're running your business throughout. You kind of need to know what's going on in the industry where you are, because like I just said a moment ago, we're all in different locations. So our rates are going to be different. Our demographics are going to be different. I know when I was visiting my daughter in the Bay over the summer, up in Oakland and San Francisco, it was a totally different setup. And the one provider that I became aware of, she had, I guess, I think Erica Sakosia spoke about this when she was hosting the show months ago. This provider had like a boutique kind of setup. I forget, what was it? It was, I know those kids did not arrive until like 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that. And they left at 1. And not only that, she was closed on Friday. So it was more of a half-day program, and then on Friday she wasn't even open. Now, that probably won't fly everywhere. I would guarantee it won't fly everywhere. But it works for her, because if it didn't, she would probably change her business model. She would be forced to. But different demographics have different needs. And so doing some market research, like kind of like what's available now, and trying to see if you're a provider, trying to see if there's a gap. I talk about that a lot too, for a lot of different things. A lot of times, if someone can fill a gap that is a need, they can do very well. With all of this UPK stuff coming up already, and in the near future, a lot of us, I've spoken about this too, a lot of us do need to look at our business model to see if basically the needs have changed in our community, and how we can service the families in our community, but also have a sustainable business as well. So doing market research, like Denitra just said, is very important, because you need to keep on top of what is going on in your community. Imagine, like I said, I had childcare for 22 years. It's not the same situation from when I started to 22 years later. No way. And if I only was closed-minded and wanted to just hold on to the past and the past needs of my community, the community probably changed completely by then. I don't know about that, but if I didn't change with the times or stay on top of what the needs were in the community, then I would be out of the loop. Okay. Denitra Scott talks to me about, always going into the mommy groups on Facebook here, or, I always say go into the local ones, because you can get maybe more specific demographic information if you're in groups that are in the community that you're trying to serve, which makes sense, right? But you can get that information organically by seeing what questions they ask, by maybe asking some questions of your own. What are their needs? Trying to really get in there and be of service, not necessarily advertise your business, broadcast your business. Okay, that will, believe you me, that'll come naturally. If somebody's asking, you'll be able to tell when that's appropriate. But just kind of getting that market research and finding out what they need, what their concerns are. Maybe just being a resource to make them feel comfortable. I was just on a phone call with someone, and I told her, I said, you have a way of explaining things in such a calm way that it makes me feel comfortable talking to you, and I don't feel intimidated by a certain subject or whatever. And I think that's true of most humans. Sometimes we're intimidated, or we don't want to think that we're asking the dumb question. And there are no dumb questions. If you're brave enough to ask, you deserve an answer. And so anyway, go into these groups and get that market research from your target audience right there. But yeah, back to this question, and I want to go read some more comments. Deborah Hurley says, as long as you keep your daycare in high standards, you will always have kids in care and be reputable. Exactly. Helena Hartman says, I have all my stuff on my websites. If others want to copy what I'm doing, I'm all for it. Wait a minute, I lost you. It scrolls up and then I lose where I'm at. The quality of care in my state and especially my area is pretty low. I actually seek out new local home providers and offer my assistance. If I can help them be better, sorry, it keeps scrolling. That's just who I am. I realize that they might have lied, so I wish this thing would stop scrolling. I realize that they might have lied, so I might nicely address that. It is actually against the law to discuss prices, so we don't really have a choice but to shop around. Many years ago, I was actually a secret shopper for Walmart. Oh, that's fun. Not any different in our business. Exactly. Ooh, I would have loved to do that. That sounds like so much fun. I love, well, anyway, let me stay on topic. That is so true, Helena. And you know what? I've said this too. All boats rise together. Okay? Listen, in most cases, and you tell me if I'm wrong where you are, you can't even take all the kids. Okay? If everybody in your city needed childcare, you can't take them all. Number one, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. Number two, because you have a space, and what do you call it? You have an amount of kids that you are licensed or able to serve, and the state and the city let you know that. But not only that, I'm sure you don't have the space for all those kids. So we need to relax and realize that we need to coexist with our fellow business owners as well. And if you can help them be better, like Helena was saying, why not? You know, it makes us all look good. You know what I mean? Deborah Hurley says, what is good for your program may not be good for others. Exactly. Just what I've said here. What I'm saying may work for some providers and their business, and what I'm saying may not work. Just like I was saying about that provider up in the Bay. She has a program that's not going to work for everybody. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. Helena says, I keep up with other providers and directors who have been willing to talk with me and help keep them full by constantly sending children their way and just being a reference. Exactly. That's what I said before. Exactly. You can't take everyone. You just can't. And why not be a resource for the community of providers? Okay. They'll look out for you. They will. I'm not talking about any bad actors. You know, there's bad actors in anything. You be you. You be the resource and the referral for people and other business owners in your community. Let's see. Okay. So Helena says, no, I turned away 250 children just in the past year. See? She probably, Helena, come back in and tell me, I'm sure you're full and that's why you're doing it, and maybe some of them weren't a good fit, but they have to land somewhere. And I know when I wasn't able to take a client for whatever reason, age, spot, whatever, you know, I was happy to say, well, try this. I had a list of other providers in my network that I would say, call them. I know this one does have, yeah, Helena says she's full. And that's awesome, Helena. Congratulations, because a lot of people, I'm hearing from a lot of providers who are having issues keeping full this year. But, yeah, Deborah Hurley says, might as well help them so kids win every time. Exactly. You know, relax, like I said. And I'm always, I tell you guys, I'm always picking on, she says she's full with a wait list. Good job. I'm always picking on Target. But Walmart's not concerned about Target. They still open their doors every day knowing that there's a Target down the street, maybe next door. In Torrance, not too far from where I'm at, well, actually, it's a little distance. But literally, I saw a Costco right next to a Sam's Club. And I'm thinking, that is weird. But no, it's not. There's going to be some people that are hardcore Costco people. They have been forever. And believe you me, I know because I see them standing out there long before the store even opens. And there's going to be some people that are Sam's Club people. Okay? So people, we as humans like options. Okay? And I have said this, and I'm going to move on to the next question, but I've said this before too. You really, tell me what you think, Helena. Tell me what you think, Deborah. You really do not want those clients that are not for you. You want the ones that are for you, okay? Those other ones, let them go. Let them go where they're supposed to be, okay? You don't need everyone. I promise you don't. And I know that's going to be hard to take with some people who have spots to fill. But you would be better off having the client, the ideal client for your business than just some random client just to fill that spot. Believe me. Believe me. I'm going to see what everybody says. Denisha Scott says, when I worked for a corporate childcare, they made it a point to be next to each other. Wow, really? Yeah. Yes, Helena says she has over 60 on her wait list. Girl, wow. I'm sure many have already found slots. The list just keeps growing. I've turned away 10 children just last Thursday. They are driving up. Wait a minute. They are driving up to an hour to me. They are driving up to an hour to me. Oh, to drive to reach her. Yes, I choose my children and families. Exactly. It was me reading that. She's saying that some of them live as far away as an hour to get to her. See? So she has a reputation in her community of having a quality childcare, and people are willing to drive to make sure their children get that care, and to the point where she is full and with a healthy wait list. So don't so much concentrate on what other people are doing, would be my takeaway from this. Concentrate on building your own business and your own reputation, and even if you're willing to support other families or other providers, you will still grow that reputation, and you will be just like her. You will be full, and you will have a reputation in the community that will serve your business for years to come. Okay? All right. I'm sorry. Okay. Next question. Hey there. I'm in the process of saving up to buy a house and considering the idea of opening my own childcare at home. Since you've been in the field for a while, I'd love to get your thoughts on what house features I should be on the lookout for. I'm thinking long term with multiple rooms and bathrooms. Sorry about the motorcycle. And definitely a backyard with a back door for separate entrances. Any advice or features you wish you had in your childcare space? Thanks a bunch. Okay, what do you guys think about that? Most of the time we start our childcare, we're already in our location, right? We're already, even if it's a center, maybe you've chosen the center, or you're in your home if you start at home like I did, and you just kind of have to work with what you got. You know what I mean? But if you were in a situation where you could choose the features of the home that you think would be conducive and be very helpful with running a childcare, what would those be? Okay. Now, for me, I have thought about this now and again over the years, and honestly, not so much the rooms. I would say to have separate rooms or as many rooms as you can, to have a bathroom near those rooms. But for me, I kept coming back to, because you guys know I like interior design and stuff, I kept coming back to space-saving furniture and space-conserving furniture. And so what I mean is, I told my husband, I said, I really wish that we had opted to get something like a Murphy bed for our room, because then I could have used that space. And maybe I wouldn't use it for the kids, but maybe I could use it for my office or for other things, because then I would be able to put the bed up. If you guys don't know what a Murphy bed is, it's I guess it's been around for a really long time, but they have some really nice modern ones now, where the bed goes up at the end at in the morning, and then in the evening you can pull it down and use it for a bed. But in some of the configurations, you can push it up, and it might turn into a desk. I know. There's I saw one that turned into a sofa. So you put it up in the wall, and then what would open up would be kind of like a love seat sofa, and so you wouldn't even be able to tell it was a bedroom once the bed goes up. So that's something that I had thought about over the years. I was like, that would be such a cool thing to have, that space conserving, because the bed takes up space even when you're not using it, right? So I would think about, when you're thinking about furnishing your home, space saving furniture and things like that. But let me see what you guys have to say. Deborah Hurley says, an open floor plan so you can supervise well. Absolutely. That's a really good point, because a lot of times, especially in older homes, walls block the line of sight, and you come on, you're going to have to get up and go into the kitchen, or you're going to have to get up and go to another area. And sometimes you can't see through walls. Not sometimes, you can't see through walls. And so if there was an open floor plan, or if you could create an open floor plan, that would probably be a really good idea, because you can see, even on these design shows when they're talking to parents, the mom always says, I'd like to see the kids when I'm in the kitchen. And so most people, they've been gravitating toward these open floor plans for years. And if you're buying a house, or if you have the funds to remodel your home, most people are opting to create some type of open floor plan. We don't use our homes like our parents used to use them. The formal dining rooms. I know in certain spots in the country, some people still gravitate toward the traditional spaces. Let me open this window. The formal spaces that our parents used to use. But I have never really used a formal dining room the way my mother used it, the way my family used it when I was growing up. I need to use each space in my home, and most of us do nowadays, especially if you're getting a newer home, because they're smaller. So you really can't have those living rooms and dining rooms that nobody goes into unless it's the holidays. Remember that? I remember plastic on the sofa. I remember they might as well have just put a velvet rope up, because we were not allowed to go in certain areas. But anyway, so an open floor plan is a really good idea. Deborah's right. Denisha says, a large lot, space between homes, dedicated bathroom, and open floor plan. Yeah. I have a big backyard, and for most of the year, weather permitting, we would have our activities outside. And so, water play in summer, and as soon as the spring comes and it's warmer, then we're outside for the majority of the time, and even holding, sitting under the tree or on the grass and reading books out there. You can do so much outside. And it's just healthier when you think about what we've gone through over the past, 4 years. Being out in the open space is much, much better than being in a confined indoor space whenever you can. So she's right. Having the biggest backyard space that you can find that works. Let's see. Let me go down. It keeps scrolling up on me. Stop rolling. Denitra's class said also a family-friendly neighborhood. That's a good one too. You can probably find clientele. If you're looking in a neighborhood that you can tell already has children. And they can be a referral for you, even if they don't have children that they send to you. I had neighbors that whenever someone that they knew needed childcare, they remembered I was here, and they would refer me. Let's see. Helena said, I had 2 extra bedrooms with a large hallway and bathroom, as well as a large closet that ended up having a washer and dryer hookup. Oh, that's nice. It's on the side of the living room, but away from the other rooms. I turned the closet into a kitchen and got a grant shortly after opening and was able to take down the wall between the bedrooms. I also replaced a window with French doors straight out of the playground. Cubbies are coming from the living room, and I'm also able to, it rolled up at me, use part of the large living room for pack and plays for infants and a large area for activities we need more space for. Wow, that's nice. Yeah. Something else you might want to do too, because I believe there are books, I know there are, because there was one book that I highlighted a while back that talk about childcare spaces and ideal setups. Although some of those are referring to center-based programs and setups, you can still get a lot of ideas by looking at books like that. So I'll try and come back in and leave a resource for a book that kind of can give you ideas, because a lot of what they're saying is coming from years of being in the business and knowing that this would have been better, this would have been more ideal, and that's probably why Helena was able to do the reconstruction to create a more ideal space where she's at, because she knew at this point what she needed it to look like and function. Helena says, we have 5 acres, so my playground is almost 3 times the size required and as much natural stuff as possible. 5 acres? That's awesome. Do the kids get lost? That's huge. Oh my God. I put up a picket fence. Okay. So we see our horses, the neighborhood duck, the neighbor when he hauls out hay to feed his cows and horses. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. I'm sure the kids love that. Oh, that is so nice. So, as you can see, no matter what house it is, you're going to have to look at the attributes that the house already has, and maybe think about some modifications that you might be able to make to for it to work and function best for you. Depending on what age group, so it's dependent on a lot of factors too. What age group you're talking about, because if you're just going to be taking care of infants, then the backyard is not so important. But the indoor space and space for as they get older and they get toddlers, you're going to need to consider. Let's see. Helena says, oh, she has pictures. Hey, you guys, you know what? Oh, no. Denisha Scott was asking for pictures. Okay, so, Helena, come back in and drop some pictures out in here for your awesome space, because I would love to see that, too. Yeah. And it'll give people ideas for how they can use spaces if they find something similar. But, yeah, it's going to be dependent on what you find in the market, what you can afford, the type of program that you're thinking about having. You might think about that provider I was talking about earlier that just has a half-day program. She actually had chickens in her backyard that were laying chickens. And so, a lot of us work with the space we have, and we've done that for years. You'll be able to, as long as it has some functionality that we're talking about here. It's got the bathroom. If you can have more than one bathroom, please do that. I personally know how important that is. Oh my gosh. And if you can have a setup where your bedroom is separated away from the rooms that you're going to use for the childcare, that's another good one, because I know when my husband was sick and at home during the years, it was kind of awful to be bothering him with when he's not feeling well with the daily goings on in the childcare. Let me catch a few more comments here, and then I'm gonna go to the last question, guys, so we don't run out of time. Let's see. Helena says, I don't know how to do it on here. Helena, come back in on your phone. Yeah, come back in on your phone. And if you need to send them to me, I can probably upload them here. But if you can come over to our Facebook page, then you can just come in under these comments and drop the pictures. But let me know if you have a problem with that. I can figure out how to help you, because I know that would be great to see. Denitra Scott wants to know, Helena, if the pictures are under your Facebook profile. If they're under your Facebook profile, then we can just link to them there, if that's okay with you. Deborah Hurley says, split levels work good because you can go upstairs and turn off your daycare monitor. You know what, Deborah, I love split level homes. You know what, I always have since watching the Brady Bunch when I was a kid. And I know that's silly, but you know what? I've told you that I live in Southern California. I actually do not live far from the actual Brady Bunch house. And one weekend I had my husband take me by there because they were doing the whole redo of the house on HGTV. And I wanted to see the house before, and I wanted to see the house after. And so he took me by there, and it was just so cool because I remember the house from watching it when I was a kid. But anyway, certain areas of the country have split level homes, and some not so much. They're harder to find, believe it or not, where I am. But I love a split level. But she's right; that will give you that separation I was talking about, being able to separate from your business. Because believe you me, all of us know what it's like to live in your business. You know, it's constantly on your mind because you're living in it. Before I started my business, I visited a provider, and she had an upstairs, downstairs, and that was her separation. You know, having upstairs, downstairs, and even a split level, you have some concerns with steps and stairs and putting up gates and whatnot as barriers. But yeah, that is a good idea. Let's see, a couple more here. Helena says, I did home care in military housing with my girls when my girls were little, and there was stuff everywhere. My girls are grown now, so I wanted to keep our adult space. Amen to that. I definitely understand that. Oh my gosh. And Deborah Hurley says, my daycare was downstairs. Keep scrolling on me, with a kitchenette, and it worked amazing. I saw somebody who had that set up. They were in I was watching a design show, and they were in Canada, and they had the same type of setup. If you could do something like that where you might have a lower unit and you can keep your business there, that would be lovely. That would be just like having a separate location in my mind. Helena dropped in, Denitra, she dropped in her link to her Facebook page, and she says there's lots of pictures over there. Okay, guys, I'm going to get on to the last question before I run out of time. I'm almost out of time as it is. But thanks for all of that. That's a fun question. We haven't gotten a question like that before. Okay, last question. Hi, Adrienne. Quick question about managing business hours. Do you have a maximum number of hours per day before you start applying overtime rates? I'm thinking about setting a cap, maybe 8, 9, 10 hours max per day to ensure a good work-life balance. Wondering how you handle this aspect in your childcare business. Any insights or advice would be much appreciated. Okay, guys, so of the providers who are here, and even if you're catching this on replay, how do you handle that? How do you handle your business hours? For me, it took me a while to get to what I call the 9-hour rule. That's what it is. The 9-hour rule. And I will link to a blog post where I wrote about that, about the 9-hour rule. And I was pleasantly surprised to find out that a lot of providers use that same rule. And if you don't know what that is a 9-hour cap on when families, 9-hour cap on the time families can use the child care. And what I mean by that is, you typically have clients that arrive at different times. Different clients arrive at different times. for me, imposing the 9-hour rule meant if you came early, you needed to pick up early. If you came late, you probably were able to stay later. But it was a 9-hour span of time, and then it tripped over into overtime rates. But for me, also that needed to be. It needed a further conversation, because we're not always going to be tripping over into overtime. Now, typically, parents don't want to pay for overtime, so they wouldn't do that all the time. But you might run into some families that didn't have a problem playing with overtime. So now you need to realize that, is that something you want to do all of the time? That's why I said it needs a further conversation. Like when you first are having a tour and interviewing the family, talk about the hours that they need care, so you get an idea. And if at that point in time you can see that it's more than 9 hours, then you can address it. Okay, well, there is a 9. I would bring it up. I would always bring it up at the tour that there is a 9-hour rule in place. Meaning, if you come at this time, then you have 9 hours, and you weren't going to be changing that from day to day. Okay, because I can't maintain ratios. I don't know what my schedule will look like if we're constantly changing. Now, if you don't mind, if you're a homebody and that doesn't bother you, then again, like I said before, do what works for you. But for me, I established that over time. I realized that I needed to, because I think I've said here before, I've had, and not everybody has these situations either, but I had parents that would get off work, go to the grocery store, go home, fix dinner, maybe take a shower before they would come and pick up their child. And of course they were late. And they would tell me this. And I was like, yeah, no. I have been up since 5 o'clock in the morning, taking care of kids since 6. Because a lot of parents, they think about their schedule and when they dropped off their child. They don't realize that for most of us, it could be a 10-hour day. Maybe 11 hours. Sometimes I was clocking 11 hours, and that was just with the kids. So you do have to establish that. And if you need to change the way your business hours are set, don't be afraid to do that. You have got to, like this provider is wanting to do, maintain a healthy work balance, work-life balance. Because if you don't, it's fast track to burnout. Okay, you're exhausted. You can't even really enjoy the weekend because you're so tired because of all of the hours that you've worked during your week. All right, let me get to some of the comments. That is I will link to that article. But again, I had to change mine several times over the years. Let me see what the other providers have to say. Lots of pictures. Okay. Okay, Denitra Scott says, if you live in a commuter town, you may want to extend to 10 hours, but still have a closing time. Yeah, still have, well, you know what? The other thing is that I bring up here too is, what does your license say? You know, because I told you last week, I talked about a family and a parent that didn't think it was that big of a deal that they were late picking up every day. But see, not only was it a big deal for me because I was exhausted, it was taking me out of compliance because my license I was licensed to a certain time. So if you're going beyond that, now I'm out of compliance and I could be fined or worse. So some of these things we think, well, we don't want to really inconvenience the parent, and we understand, and I'm not telling you not to be empathetic. I'm not. But, like I said last week, when the same kids get to school, they're not going to be 10-hour days. It's not. They're going to have to figure it out. And so, over the years, I realized I'm going to help you figure it out because this is kind of a boot camp. You're going to figure it out now so that when they get to school, you'll be used to picking them up at 3:30 or whatever the school requires, okay? Instead of 7 or 7:30. I actually had, and this woman was my hairdresser way back. And I'm telling you, she picked up her child one time. It was 7:30. No way in the world my hours extended to 7:30. And I was, in the mealy mouth phase. And I didn't say enough. Now, she was leaving anyway. She was moving out of the area, and where she was moving, her cousin had a childcare. And she came back and told me, I guess at a hair appointment, she said that her cousin said, "What time did you pick up for Miss Adrian?" And she told her, and she said, "You better not pick up your child late from me." And I was like, that's when I started to pay attention, and I realized, yeah, I need to speak up. You guys, do you have any final comments when it comes to setting your hours? That again is going to be very specific to everyone's business. Like I was referring to earlier, it's dependent on kind of like what Denisha is saying, where you live and the demographics and the needs of the parents and the families where you are. How you set your hours, you can change them. You might have to change them with licensing if they go beyond or extend past the hours that you're already licensed for. Helena says she's open from 6 to 5:30. Used to be 6 to 6, and only one family needed it, and the others were taking advantage of it. The family needed it moved, so I changed it to 5:30. She's probably talking about her own family. I charge $10 per minute late per child, with grace if needed. But I don't have a problem charging for being taken advantage of. Amen. Amen. Seriously, I know we all think it's not going to happen to us. And, God bless you if it doesn't happen to you, then you don't have to worry about it. But it happens to a lot of us. It does. I mean, I literally had a family, no kidding, they forgot to pick up their child. Anybody have that? They called me from their house and said, "Oh, we forgot to pick up." Meanwhile, this child, I'll end with this. It can affect so many things, because this particular child, kids are not stupid. She knew that she was usually one of the first ones picked up, and now she was like the last kid here. She was having anxiety, okay, because she was like, "Am I getting left here?" I don't know what she was thinking, but because she was so little. But I was like, "Okay, well, get in the car and come get her." You know what I mean? Denisha's laughing. No, seriously. But look, you guys, set your hours for, I would say, look at the needs in your community. Look at the needs in the families in your community. But look hard and fast at the needs of your family. Do you need to leave to go to take your child to a ballet class? Do you need to go to a yoga class yourself? Do you need to go to a book club? I don't know. Figure it out. Look at your own schedule and see what's going to work for you. And maybe it's different times on different days. I told you about that provider who had a setup that I would have loved, off on every Friday and only a half day. Oh my gosh, that would have been a dream. Never occurred to me to even try that, because I would have assumed that it wouldn't work in my community. You don't know that. You don't know that until you do the market research that Denitra was talking about. Okay, so Deborah Hurley says, that happened to me. The dad was supposed to, so each parent thought the other was picking up. Exactly. And you know what? My family, it wasn't a divorce or a separated family either. They were in the same household, literally went home without their child. I'll never forget that. But do what works for you. Do like what I was saying at the beginning of the year. Review it every year. And if something doesn't work, don't be afraid to change it. Okay? All right. I'm going to thank you guys for joining me here today. This was a lively discussion, and it was so much fun talking to you guys, just like always. That is it for the questions this week. And remember, if you have a question that you'd like for us to answer here or address on the show, sorry about the gardener. You don't have to wait till next week. Even if you can't make the show, you can leave your question at thrivingchildcare.com/what's your question. That's thrivingchildcare.com/what's your question, and I will address it on the show, and you can either catch it later on replay, or if you can join us like Lena, Deborah, and Denitra, I would love that as well. All right, so I am Adrienne Bradley, your host for the Daycare Q&A Show. Again, thanks for joining me here today, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you next week. But until then, keep thriving. See you next week. Hey there, my name is Adrienne Bradley, and I've got a story to share with you today. One that's close to my heart. You see, over 20 years ago, when I first started my childcare business, I wish that I had had a supportive community by my side. Oh, the impact it would have had. Back then, I was juggling so much, from learning how to market my new business to keeping up with regulations. It was tough, and I often felt like I was on my own. But here's the thing, I've learned a lot along the way. And now I'm here to be your guide to that community I wish I had. Our Rise and Thrive Club isn't just a membership. It's a lifeline for childcare owners like you. Imagine having a supportive community where you can connect with fellow providers, share insights, and celebrate wins together. It's a place where you can access exclusive resources, workshops, and trainings to level up your childcare business. From marketing strategies to staff management tips, we've got you covered. We have reopened the doors to the Rise and Thrive Club. Now is the best time to join us at our special re-grand opening rate. And if you join right now, we've got something special just for you. You will get an amazing member box valued at up to $60 to welcome you into the community. So join us in our one-of-a-kind provider community and get the support you need to start, grow, and love your childcare business. Together, we'll rise and thrive like never before.